Listen, if you want to truly understand people and build the kind of loyalty, trust, and influence that actually makes a difference, you need to know how it works from the ground up. This isn't theory. It's a systematic approach intelligence professionals use every day, and when applied correctly, it works in every area of life. In business, to gain clients or lead a team; in relationships, to deepen connections and trust; and in personal growth, to navigate social situations and opportunities with confidence. First, you need to understand the observation phase. You don't just walk up to someone and try to connect with them immediately. That's amateur hour. What you do is watch. You watch them for weeks, for months if you have the time. You're studying how they behave in different contexts. Watch how they interact with their spouse when they think nobody's looking. Watch how they handle stress in private versus how they present themselves in public. You're looking for inconsistencies. You're looking for the gaps between who they are and who they pretend to be. Everyone has these gaps. Everyone maintains a public persona that differs from their private reality. Your job is to identify exactly where those gaps exist and what they reveal about the person's vulnerabilities, fears, and shame points. Now, once you've done your observation work, once you've identified where someone's vulnerabilities lie, you move to the vulnerability matching technique. This is critical, so pay attention. You don't expose their vulnerability directly. That would put them on the defensive immediately. Instead, what you do is expose your own vulnerability first, but you choose a vulnerability that mirrors theirs. If you've observed that someone struggles with their marriage, that they put on a happy face in public, but you can see the tension when they're with their spouse, you open up about your own marriage struggles. You might say something like, sometimes I don't even like my wife. I know I'm supposed to. I married her, made all these promises in front of everyone, but honestly, there are days when I really don't like her at all. What you've just done is opened a door. You've created a safe space by going first, by being the one who admits the shameful thing. Most people won't open up about their own struggles until someone else demonstrates that it's safe to do so. By sharing first, you're giving them permission to be honest. And here's what happens next. They'll respond with understanding. They'll lean in. They'll say something like, "Man, I totally get it. Tell me more about that." And once they say that, once they engage with your vulnerability, you've got your opening. Now you're breaking into their secret life. And understand this distinction clearly. It's not about finding things they should be ashamed of. It's about finding things they are ashamed of, whether that shame is justified or not. The shame is what creates the vulnerability. The shame is what isolates them. Because when someone carries shame about something, they can't talk about it with most people. They hide it. They manage it alone. And carrying secrets alone is exhausting and isolating. When you help someone feel less ashamed by demonstrating that you share similar struggles, that you understand their hidden reality, you're creating something incredibly powerful. You're positioning yourself as the one person they can talk to about this thing that's been weighing on them. Think about the psychological dynamic you've just created. There are billions of people in the world, but now there's only one other person besides themselves who knows this secret, who understands this struggle, and that person is you. This creates an immediate and profound sense of connection and loyalty. Here's what this looks like in practice. When someone has a secret they can only share with one person, they think about that person constantly. That person occupies mental real estate in a way that other people don't. They're always waiting for the next opportunity to talk to them, to share more, to feel that sense of relief and understanding again. When they finally get that opportunity, when they sit down with you and can talk openly about the thing they hide from everyone else, it feels like coming home. It feels like safety. It feels like acceptance. And humans will do almost anything to maintain access to that feeling. Now, in intelligence work, we simulate this dynamic artificially. We create these relationships deliberately to extract information and build loyalty to our objectives. We manufacture the sense of safety and understanding to get people to share secrets they wouldn't share otherwise. And let me be direct with you here. This approach, when used manipulatively, is not healthy for relationships. I'm not standing here telling you to go manipulate everyone around you for personal gain. That's not the point. But understanding how this dynamic works, understanding the mechanics of human vulnerability and connection, that's incredibly valuable knowledge. Because here's where this becomes applicable to your actual life and career. The principles underlying this approach translate directly into customer service, sales, leadership, and career advancement. Let me break down exactly how. In customer service and sales, the principle works like this. Most people in sales focus on the product. They learn all the technical specifications. They memorize the features and benefits. They think that's what sells. But that's not what creates loyalty. That's not what builds relationships. Instead, what you do is focus on genuine curiosity about the person in front of you. Not the transaction, not the product, the person. Here's a real example of how this works. Someone working in car sales early in their career wasn't successful because they knew about cars. In fact, when customers asked detailed technical questions, they often couldn't answer them because they weren't a mechanic. They didn't have that technical expertise. But what they did have was authentic curiosity about people. When a customer walked in, they'd ask, "Where are you headed today?" The customer might answer, "I've got work at Microsoft." Instead of immediately pivoting to which car would be best for commuting, they'd follow up with, "Oh, what do you do over there?" This wasn't a sales technique. This was genuine interest, and customers could feel the difference. This approach works because the exchange of value in business isn't just about money. Yes, the financial transaction happens, but if you can add an element of real interest in the customer, if you can make them feel genuinely seen and heard as a person rather than just a source of revenue, you create something that transcends commodity pricing. Because here's the reality. If you're just selling a commodity, someone else can always undercut you on price. Someone can always make it cheaper or sell it for less. But when you're offering authentic human connection alongside your product or service, when customers feel genuinely valued, that's not something competitors can easily replicate. Now let's talk about how this applies inside corporate structures and career advancement. If you understand the concept of working human relationships to your benefit, if you can get insight into your boss's private concerns or secret struggles, you position yourself completely differently than everyone else competing for the same opportunities. When you understand what your boss actually cares about beneath the surface level, what keeps them up at night, what they're worried about but can't admit publicly, you can align yourself with those concerns in ways that others can't. This is how you become the first person on the list for promotions. When your boss is thinking about who to advance, your name comes up first because you've built a relationship that goes beyond the transactional. You're the first person they consider for raises when budget becomes available. You're the first person they think of when they need someone to expand business into a new region or fix a critical problem in another part of the country. Why? Because you've demonstrated that you understand them, that you can manage relationships effectively, and that you can be trusted with important responsibilities. The key to all of this is understanding how to use vulnerability and authenticity strategically. You're taking these intangible human elements and turning them into actual, tangible value. You're building loyalty that translates into career opportunities, into sales success, into customer retention, into business growth. And the foundation of all of it is recognizing that business is fundamentally about human relationships. Every transaction, every promotion, every successful deal ultimately comes down to humans interacting with other humans. The people who understand human psychology, who can read vulnerabilities, who can create authentic connections, who can build spaces where others feel genuinely understood and valued, these are the people who consistently win in business. They rise faster. They build more loyal customer bases. They create more opportunities for themselves. Not because they're manipulating people in harmful ways, but because they understand the fundamental mechanics of how human connection and loyalty actually work. So here's your practical framework. 1. Observe extensively before engaging. Identify the gaps between public persona and private reality. 2. Use vulnerability matching by sharing your own struggles that mirror what you've observed in others. 3. Create that sense of being the only person they can talk to about specific issues. 4. Apply genuine curiosity consistently, especially in customer-facing and leadership contexts. 5. Recognize that authentic connection creates value that transcends commodity pricing and standard business relationships. And 6. Understand that everything in business ultimately reduces to human psychology and relationship management. Master these principles, and you're playing a completely different game than most people in business. You're operating at a level that most of your competition doesn't even know exists.